Hello and welcome to our Functional Fitness Friday and guided breathing session. I'm your instructor, Quinn. We will be doing a really awesome circuit that I put together for you guys today. So starting with our warm-up, we're going to have our kneeling Cossack squats, getting the inside of our hips nice and open, working through some knee mobility and range of motion there. Then we're going to go into our quad rocks, stretching out our front of our thigh and the back of our thigh, getting the hamstrings and the quads a little bit. Then we're going to get into the lizard reach. Once we open up those quads, we're going to be able to open up more areas of the hips and get a little bit of rotational mobility through the spine as well. Then we're also going to have our deep squat, which is going to contribute to that hip opening once and for all, trying to get nice and low and hips drop down to the floor. We're then going to go through our workout, which is going to start with the side lunge, then going into a lunge to balance, or more of like a split squat to balance. We're going to be in a split stance, squat down and drive up, bringing one knee forward. And then we're going to have our reverse rotating lunge, stepping back, dropping down, and rotating our weight over the midpoint of that foot. Following that, we're going to get into our plank and then move to a pike to plank push-up. I'll show you guys how to do that. It's basically just getting into a pike, down to the plank, push up, back up into the pike. Then we go into our snow angels, our Supermans, and our bird dogs, working with a little bit of engagement through the back and stability and control through the core. After we go probably twice through that, we're going to head into our cool down session, which is going to be our pike calf stretch. So driving that heel into the floor, getting a nice stretch through the backside of the legs, specifically targeting the calves. Then we have our shin box stretching, which is going to work on that hip flexibility and mobility, targeting those little rotator muscles there that cause that tension. And then we have our world's greatest stretch. Sorry, I couldn't see what I wrote. Where we're going to bring one knee up and over and rotating across while we're laying down on the ground. We're going to get our guided breathing session in, depending on how fast we can get through this workout here. We're going to try and get two different breath exercises going with some box breathing of a 4x4x4. So 4-second inhale, 4-second hold, 4-second exhale, 4-second hold, and repeating that through for probably about 3 minutes. And then we're going to go into an 8-second inhale, 2-second hold, 10-second exhale, back into that 8-second inhale to finish out our session. So that being said, we're going to go into our kneeling Cossack squat for our warm-up. So we're going to hop down onto one knee here, bring our foot out to the side, pointed at 90 degrees away from the hips, keeping our hips square forward and getting this nice open angle with our hip. We're going to lunge that knee out over the toe, dropping the hip down to the ankle and coming back up. Readjusting, getting that foot to 90 degrees, driving out forward and coming back up. Getting a nice stretch to the inside of the hip, driving that weight through the middle of the foot, keeping our chest and our hips nice and square. Driving back and forth. Good. Bringing our knee down, other foot comes out, pointing that toe forward and driving that weight down, pressing out off the middle of the foot, lowering our hips down to the heel and driving back up. Keeping ourselves nice and tall, driving through the foot, keeping that weight just over the middle. A few more. And done. Good. Next up, we're going to get into our quad rocks. So getting one leg out front, starting back, sitting in this quad flex position. We're going to stretch into the hamstring, lowering our chest down to the ground and come forward into a lunge. Rock back, come forward, and swinging those hips back and forth, keeping that belly button sucked into the spine. rocking nice and fluid back and forth, and switching sides, getting our other foot forward, lunging forward, and rocking back into a hamstring stretch there. And finishing out. Good. Next up, we have our lizard reach. So keeping one foot forward, we're going to get our hands down to the ground, popping that knee up and sinking the hips down. We're going to rotate, opening up, pressing our fingertips towards the ceiling, and dropping down to the ground, switching our feet back, coming up and rotating up, stretching, keeping those knees extended and feet flat. Coming down, one more each side, rotating up and switching. Very good. Next up, we have our deep squat. So getting our feet about hip width apart, we're going to lower down into that squat, trying to get our hips down nice and low. You can open up those feet wider and wider so you can get those hips sinking down, and trying to sit back into the heels. Spreading those knees with the elbows. Opening up those hips, getting everything nice and loose. And sitting back, standing back up, we're going to get into our workout now. Whew, got a little lightheaded there, getting nice and deep into that squat as I stood up. That was crazy. All right, so getting our feet nice and wide, we're going to start with our side lunges. So nice wide stance. We're going to lower our hips down onto one leg and drag back up through the middle of the foot. Switching back and forth, lowering our hips down, chest up. Nice even transition from side to side as we lower those hips down and drive through the middle of the foot. Pressing back and forth. Nice and even. Good. Next up, we're going to go into our lunge to balance, or you could call this a split squat to balance, basically. So we're going to get our feet spread, driving that knee out over the toe. We're going to get down into a split squat and drive up to a balancing position. Stepping back and standing up, swinging that knee up to a balance and stepping back. Once we get up into that balance, holding the pose and coming back down. And switching. Stepping one foot back and popping up. Getting that nice controlled balance and stepping back into a lunge. And rest. Good. Next up, we have our reverse rotating lunges. So getting back into that similar position. Actually, we're going to start with our feet on the same spot, stepping back, rotating, and alternating each leg as we come back up. Getting nice rotation across the knee. Focusing on that balance and stability. Rotating back and forth. Keeping that belly button sucked to spine. Driving through those legs. And rest. Good. Next up, we have our plank. So getting down onto our forearms. We're going to extend the feet back, getting our hips into the air, nice and level with the shoulder, sucking that belly button up the spine. Getting nice and level. Pressing the ground away through the shoulders, keeping those hips nice and level, keeping that flat back. Almost there, a few more seconds, keep it up. And finish. Good. Next up, we have our pike to plank push-up. So we're gonna get our hands flat on the ground, feet extended back. We're gonna pop up into our pike, getting those hips up in the air, driving through the shoulders, stretching out the calves, and swinging forward, keeping that back flat with the hips, lowering our chest down to a push-up, and driving back up. Sweeping back, driving the hands through, coming forward, down, and up. Nice fluid movement. Going back and forth. Dropping that chest in between the hands. And popping back up. Couple more. And finished. Good. Next up, we have our snow angels. So, laying flat onto our chest. We're going to extend our hands out in front. Getting our fingertips all the way out. And popping up, sweeping our hands out to the side. Coming behind the back, rotating the hands over. So we have the knuckles touching the lower back. Squeezing those shoulders together. We're going to extend the hands back out, fingertips out, and back together, sweeping across. Moving in a nice, big breaststroking motion. Couple more here. And rest. Good. Next up, we have our Superman. So getting our hands out in front, we're going to pop up into our Superman, holding our hands up nice and high, holding up at the top and slowly lowering down, getting a tap at the bottom and popping up again, giving a nice hold. Pulling those shoulders away from the ears, keeping those feet and hands up. Slowly moving back and forth between hitting the floor and coming back up. Once you feel that tap on the ground, pop back up. And down. Good. Next up, we're going to go into our bird dogs here. So, getting our hands down on the ground, knees down. We're going to extend one hand out, opposite leg out. So we're using our right hand, left leg, left hand, right leg. Supporting that weight, keeping our hands and leg up, giving a nice long hold up at the top. Trying to keep that stability, sucking belly button to spine, finding that middle point and holding it. And relaxing down, extending the other arm out. Holding up at the top. And lowering back down. Good. All right. We are going to head into our cool down now. We got one time through our workout. We're going to hit this cool down for about 5 minutes and then do our guided breathing for a 10-minute session today. Give you guys a nice long one. All right, so the first thing that we're going to go into is our pike calf stretch. So getting our hands down on the ground, we're going to extend our feet back behind us, pressing the heel of our foot into the ground, swinging those hips up in the air, really stretching out those calves, getting that length all through the backside of the leg. And getting some nice deep breathing, trying to release that tension. As we switch sides here, pressing the other heel down, getting a nice stretch through the calf, pressing that knee back, keeping that leg straight. And relaxing out. Okay, next up, we're going to do our shin box stretch. So getting into a 90-90 position here. Got one leg out and forward, another leg out and behind. Here we're going to lean forward, lowering our chest down towards the shin in front of the hips. Getting a nice stretch through that outer hip into the glutes. If you're having a little bit of a pinch in the front of your hip here, you can pick the hips up a little bit and slide forward. That might help you work into that area while giving some relief to the hip. Trying to get deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And rolling back, we're going to rotate our shoulder out and around, getting our hand all the way around, trying to twist through the hip here, stretching into the front of this hip. So dropping that shoulder back, trying to lower the chest into the other direction that we just had it. And rotating around, switching sides, getting our shins into the other position and lowering our chest down. Trying to get into that hip. Stretching through that outer hip. Getting nice deep breaths. Trying to get lower and lower towards the shin each time. and rotating out and around. Stretching through the front of the hip, trying to lower that chest down towards the ground. And popping back out. Good. Next up, we have our world's greatest stretch. So we're gonna go twice on each side here for this one. So we're gonna start by laying onto our side, getting our hands out forward and bending the knee up towards the hip. We're gonna place one hand on top of the knee, and our top hand is gonna come up and over. Dropping that shoulder down towards the floor, using our other hand to keep the knee down. We're rotating all the way across, trying to reach those fingertips out towards our wall or door or whatever. Just trying to open up that chest and that lower back. Trying to get that shoulder down to the floor. And rotating around. Flipping to the other side. Getting our top knee up and in front. Both hands out. Our top hand comes up and over as our bottom hand holds that knee down. We're rotating around, trying to drop that shoulder down to the ground. Trying to get further and further with each breath. Nice big deep breaths. Trying to loosen up that back. And coming back up and out. We'll go one more of those on each side because they're just so good. Getting our top knee up and in front, bent forward, bottom hand holds the knee, top hand sweeps over, trying to drop that shoulder to the ground. Reaching those fingertips out and away. And rotating back up. Flipping over to the other side. Extending that knee up. Flexing that knee rather. Putting our bottom hand on top of the knee. Top hand reaches out, up, and over. Trying to twist all the way around. Getting that shoulder down to the ground. And relaxing back out, twisting up and over. Good. We went a little bit over with that stretching there with the extra twist, but we're just gonna get a little bit of a forward fold, stretching that back out, getting into the lower back and the shoulders a little bit. Very, very quickly, just a little alignment, getting straight after all that twisting back and forth. All right. So now you guys are going to get into a comfortable position and start with our guided breathing. The first thing that we're going to do is our box breathing with a 4-4-4 count, getting the inhale, exhale, and holds in between at a 4-second pace. So I will be paying attention to the clock. You can go ahead and close your eyes, relax, zone out, however you would like. We're going to start our inhale, hold, and exhale out. Giving another inhale in, hold, and exhale out. Inhale in, hold, and exhale out. Inhale in, hold, exhale out. Hold, inhale in, hold, exhale out. Hold, inhale, hold, exhale. Hold, inhale, hold, exhale. Hold, inhale in, hold, exhale. Hold, inhale in, hold, exhale. All the way out, exhale all the way, every last little bit. And breathe in, 8 seconds in. And hold, exhale out. Inhale in, 8-second inhale, breathing in through the nose, all the way to the top of the lungs, and hold. Exhale out for 10 seconds, slowly, calmly, controlling the breath out. And breathing in through the nose. Hold. Exhale out. Getting every last bit out and breathing in. All the way through the nose. Hold. And breathe out. Slowly, calmly, peacefully. And relaxing, returning the breath to normal, finding your normal pace. Focusing, relaxing, and concluding the session. Thank you so much for hopping in today. I hope you enjoyed our little routine. I tried to get a little bit more breath work than we usually do and include a good full body activation, stretching, and mobilization. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or critiques, please let me know and send me a message. If not, have a wonderful weekend and